Hello and welcome to another Game Nexus arcade video. Today we're going to be taking a look at, if you can see on the screen here, this says System 12 Test Program. Software loaded is TET3 version A, which of course is Tekken 3 on the Namco System 12 arcade board. Let me show you what we have going on the desk here. Here's the Namco System 12 board. As you can see from my one of my previous arcade videos where I showed off Soul Edge version 2, this is the System 12 board, not the System 11. It has the same auxiliary connector for the kick harness, but it has all this stuff here, which is the actual JVS interface. So if you wanted to, you could plug your 6-pin in here, do video on one of these. It has two because JVS has the ability to do verses on some machines. And then of course there's audio ports here. I'm going from the VGA to my video converter and then all the way over to the monitor, and that converts it to a proper sync signal, because this game only does up to 24 Hz, which a standard VGA monitor can't handle. And just like with Tekken 4, I'm running a wire and a wire here, and they're going into the control interface for my Neo Geo controller. So I'm going to put the camera back on the tripod, and we're going to get right into this. There we are. If it needs to be adjusted any, of course, just like usual, I'll adjust it. But this, of course, is our test menu, and that's accessed by flipping one of the little switches on the PCB. Although, unlike Soul Edge version 2, it's not a the switch you get in this menu, turn the switch off, you get out of this menu. Flipping the switch just simply brings you into here, and just going through the options here will get you out. And of course, if you see here, we have our game options. Just about everything on here is set to default, except for a couple of options which I've actually changed. So if we go player 1 start, then you can go into your switch test, which just shows me that all my buttons are working. This game only uses 4 buttons. One thing I wanted to show you here real quick that I thought was really cool, if you go into ADS test, I don't know if you can read that all that well. I see I gotta pull my camera back a little bit more here. Let's get that a little bit better. Yeah, there we go. Now we're fully in the frame. But you'll see here, the total on time is 2,008 hours, 44 minutes, and 38 seconds. And then coin total is 10,906 for coin 1, and then 72 for coin 2. The total all play time, meaning the actual time it's been played right here, is 252 hours, 32 minutes, and 25 seconds, which that means that before I had this board in my possession, it's had a lot of plays, and you can see the free play here, 33 free play coins, which means I'm pretty sure there was only like a couple of free play coins, so there was a lot of play on this machine, which is actually pretty nice. So if I press button 1, it'll take us and it'll show us our percentages. Looks like Law was the most, followed by Eddie, followed by Yoshimitsu, followed by Xiao Yu, followed by King, and the rest go on. If you want, you could pause the video and see. Then we'll go into the next page with button 1 again, and it shows us versus win data. You could pause that and see what you think of that. And then it takes us back to the start. So I'm going to push player 1 start to get out of this. And let's get right into this, and I'll let you enjoy your intro. And then I'll start my commentary, of course. Let me turn off the light. Well, it doesn't look like it's going to do that real-time intro, but you already saw that in the pickups video, and I'm sure you've probably seen it in the home version, but let's get right into this. And as you can see from the character select screen, all the characters are selectable because it had been on for so long. Basically, the way that a lot of these arcade games worked is, for every, like, several hours the game was on, you got a character. And I believe it actually was a good while before you got all the characters, because I don't think my exaggeration of it being a few months was really all that much of an exaggeration. Now, if you noticed in the beginning there, you'll see that there's like a minute and 15 seconds of play already. Well, I had a problem with the audio when I first started this gameplay, so I had to more or less lose on purpose so I could fix the audio problem, but then I fixed it, and, you know, here we are. And the cool part about this game is, unlike the earlier two entries in the series, this is the first entry to have full 3D backgrounds and fully motion captured moves, which is why, if you compare the old games to this one, the moves just look a bit more realistic. And they even went as far to get like real taekwondo and real experts to actually do the motion capture. Like, two examples I can give you here that MamesHistory.dat actually have are, for Eddie Gordo's, I'm probably saying this completely wrong, but it looks like Capoeira. They got Master Marcello Pereira or something like that, because he was like a master of this type of move style. And for the taekwondo style of Hwoarang, I think his name is. A lot of people call him Bob, which was the creation of the Bob character from Tekken 6. They got Hwang Soo-il from Japan's International Taekwondo Federation. It's just really cool to think that this is just a game which is meant to entertain people, but they would actually go so far to actually get these experts to do the motion capture so the games look realistic. But back to our vital statistics. The game was released in March of 1997, even though the title screen says 96. And as I had mentioned in the beginning, this is what's called a medium resolution game. So unlike Namco System 246 and Sega Naomi, which actually run in what's called high resolution, which is 31 kilohertz, or VGA, which is 640 by 480, this game only runs in 24 hertz, which is medium resolution, which is only if you connect it via the connector on the side there that I'll show you in the beginning. Otherwise, if you connect it with your standard JAMA connection and that multi-pin connector I had connected in the Solid video, it'll only display in 15 hertz. But the reason I have it going through the pass-through and then through the board is because I figured if I use the 24 kilohertz, it's going to end up looking a little bit better since it's converting it from a stronger signal. But really, when it comes to Tekken 3, there's not all that much to say about it, as it honestly is an excellent game. And if you go ahead and compare this version to the console version, it's probably not too visible in the video, but the graphics are just much better in this version. Of course, just like Dead or Alive and Virtua Fighter 2, with the console version of Tekken 3, they opted to do the, like, background. Instead of it being a full 3D background, it's kind of like a 2D image that's kind of interpolated through the background to make it look like it's a 3D image. Whereas in this game, it's a full 3D background. And of course, the characters' poly counts and textures had to be downgraded a bit because, unlike the Namco System 11, which is pretty much a standard PlayStation spec, the Namco System 12 here, similar to how you had your Namco System 246 and 256, well, this System 12 is an upgraded PlayStation 1 spec. So that's why you had Tekken 3 here, Tekken Tag Tournament, and Soul Calibur, and they all just had a bit more polish than a standard PlayStation game would be. And of course, just like I do with all my arcade videos, I cut all my losses out here because it just would take a little bit too long. But if you look carefully at the time on the top, you'll notice the time will take a sudden jump. And at least in this game, what'll happen is when I do a continue, You'll notice that when it shows the versus screen, it actually does a, you'll hear a little musical cue because the music for the select screen doesn't quite end. But this was, when I actually got my PlayStation, this was one of the first games featured on the demo disc, so it was very fun to be able to play Tekken 3 for the first time. Although, don't get me wrong, this wasn't the first game I played for PlayStation. The first game I actually played for PlayStation was Twisted Metal and Battle Arena Toshinden, which a friend of mine had a system. So it was really cool to play that when it was really pretty much brand new. But for home fighting games, this would have to be one of my first. Of course, I eventually got the two aforementioned games for PlayStation. Now, just as everyone knows, the Tekken is King of Iron Fist Tournament. Now, I don't know the actual differences between version A and version B for the American versions, but I figure there would be... It probably would be like the whole good old rebalancing, adding something here, subtracting something there. You know how they usually do it. Kind of like how my Virtua Fighter 4 is actually version C. So they've actually tightened that one up. But not all that many people might know this, but in Tekken 5 for PlayStation, there's what's called an arcade history mode where you can actually play the arcade version. It's a pretty decent emulation if you don't want to go ahead and get the arcade board and the whole setup to actually run it. And of course, if either your computer's not powerful enough to run MAME, or you don't want to be bothered to run something like Zinc or any of the other emulators, you basically can emulate this game on a PlayStation 2. And just like this version, it's not going to have all the added stuff like the mini games in the Tekken Force mode, but basically, when you look at the arcade version, it's just a much more solid game of Tekken 3 as opposed to the console version. But don't get me wrong, the PlayStation version of Tekken 3 is honestly a masterpiece, and it's really amazing. Now, one thing you'll notice when I get to the very end here is the character who's known as True Ogre in the PlayStation port actually is just commonly referred to as Ogre 2. But in the actual game, he's not annotated any different, so just says Ogre by his name. And now, just like in the console versions of Tekken, if you do alternate for Eddie Gordo here, you get Tiger, who's the like the disco guy with the afro in his head. And if you press start on Nina Williams, you get Anna Williams, but just like Tiger, she plays exactly the same. So it's pretty much like a palette swap. And of course the other one is if you select Panda with start, you get a if you select Kuma with start, you get Panda. And just like all the time release characters, when you unlock certain characters, then those bonus characters get unlocked as well. So let me see if I can find that for you. Okay, to get Anna Williams, she will only be playable after Brian is unlocked. To get Tiger, he will only be unlocked, he'll only be playable when Ogre 2 is unlocked, or True Ogre. Let me see if it says Panda here. Shall you? And of course you can get your special outfits for Jin Law and Xiao Yu by pressing start. Jin's is available from the start, but I mean Law's is available from the start, but Jin and Xiao Yu's outfits are only available after Mokujin is unlocked from time release. Strangely enough here, it doesn't tell me when you get Panda, but I figure it probably coincides with another character. And of course, here is your Ogre 1, if you will, or just regular Ogre as people know him. And then you'll have this kind of cutscene of him taking Heihachi. And then he turns into the character that we all know as True Ogre, or Ogre 2. And I honestly didn't even really try to do that. I just kind of killed both of them without even getting hurt. But that really wasn't all that great of a run-through of this, but at least I didn't get like over 17 minutes or anything. And I don't know if you noticed it, but if you actually look during Paul's stage very carefully, you'll see on the wall there's actually this big graffiti thing of Soul Edge, which I always thought was really cool. One of these days I'm going to actually have to check to see if the console version actually has that or not. But yeah, as I mentioned earlier, it goes without saying, Tekken 3, especially this arcade version, is an amazingly great game, and I would highly recommend if you're an arcade collector or you simply just like playing games in MAME. This is very much worth getting. It's very worth playing in your emulators, either MAME or Zinc. It's all around just the best version of this fighting game, and as I'd mentioned in the Tekken 4 video, since I was kind of like disgruntled that you only got to fight Heihachi, I thought it's really cool that you fight Ogre and True Ogre. And they did the exact same thing as they did in Tekken 4, which of course Tekken 4 was after this, but they just showed the character and the Namco logo. And here are these times that were actually done by all the people who played it on the while it was on location, and I can honestly tell you I can't even touch any of these times. If you personally have times faster than those, let me know. But in just a little while here, there's going to be that real-time intro I was telling you I couldn't get to happen in the beginning. But it actually did show after this bit of demo footage is here, so I'm going to let you enjoy that. Well, this has been another Game Nexus Arcade video, and I shall see you later. Bye.